Hello everyone, this is Garrick Mitchell. Welcome to a grand experiment in my YouTube activities here. I'm going to do some audio commentary. We'll see if that streamlines the editing process and maybe gives you a little more insight. Really putting together text titles for commentary is the most time-consuming part of the editing process, so let's try this. Welcome to the final day of Tulsa Tough 2019. This is the River Parks Criterium, featuring the signature feature of the entire weekend, Crybaby Hill. I'm lined up with the Masters A's. This is the 40 plus 1, 2, 3s. I know it's going to be fast, but this is what brought me here. I wanted to get the full experience.
Come on, boys.
Now we turn it over to announcer Dave Towell.
Gentlemen, you know what it's all about. Have your day, okay? Be safe. We'll see you off the finish line in a bit. And now, guys, let's get it on in 3, 2, 1.
And here we go. Well, I got clipped in to my less experienced Criterium Racer viewers here. The start is just a matter of clipping in like you always do, and watch for guys who are having a tough time getting going in front of you, but really just don't sweat it, just get going. If you don't clip in the first time, just try again, get going. So we're on the front straightaway. It'll be a dogleg right, immediately into Crybaby Hill. This first section is pretty steep. It's at least 10%. Got a lot of momentum coming into it. I never had to get into my small ring. Then it's around the corner where the crowd really starts. This is not as big a crowd as they'll have later, but still enough to have some noise. The top part of Crybaby Hill is not as steep, but your legs are tired from the first part. You crest the hill. It's a quick little downhill through a couple of bumpy intersections. This next intersection has a nice little bump and dip in it. And then a short climb to turn 3. At this point, really, I'm just trying to stay out of trouble. I may not be dead last at this point, but I'm definitely towards the back. Now this southbound stretch on Galveston Street is downhill. You'll notice I'm coasting. I'll speed up to about 29. But then the course just drops. Coming into a tight right-hander. You'll notice the road is a bit wet. None of us really knew what traction we were going to have there, so we kind of tiptoed through it that time. And back onto the front straightaway. So, to my not surprise, I'm closing a gap here.
The reality is exciting, and actually the junior.
So there's lap 1, once more into Crybaby Hill. Maybe you want to watch ahead for folks who are having trouble. Maybe someone drops a chain. We really didn't have to shift into our small rings here, but you don't want to get balked on the hill. That's a death sentence for sure. I tell you what, I had goosebumps every time going through the gauntlet of noise on Crybaby Hill. That was incredible. They added the spectator fencing this year. In years past, there was no fencing on the hill, and they relied on the Crybaby Hill police to keep the crowds back. But I can't even imagine. That must have been just beyond nuts. There was no shortage of heckling. It was cyclocross caliber heckling on the course. There was a guy we just passed on the left side there who kept saying that the Masters Bs went faster than we were going. That's okay. A little heckling is good for the soul. Once more through the pucker-inducing final corner. We kept it clean through there, but man, you got to pay attention. Just heard I asked the guy in front of me whether he had control of that gap. You see the gap opening in front of him. Yesterday, Saturday, I got actually dropped because a rider in front of me let a gap open and I couldn't jump around it. But he's in good shape. You notice he's zooming up to the rider in front as folks slow down a bit coming into Crybaby Hill. And I'll zoom past this guy. So that was actually a tactic you could use, was to have a little gap coming into the hill and just really gun it and keep your momentum going. So I was able to make up several places on the hill there. So you'll notice I've got what's become my usual data overlay. I've got speed and pedal cadence at lower left. Next to that I've got my heart rate, beats per minute, and power in watts. Power coming from a Stages left crank arm power meter. The Stages team was here in force. They had probably 7 guys in this field. Steep downhill coming into the tight final corner. I just basically rode the brakes all the way down this, just trying to keep in formation with the other riders. No kamikaze moves up the inside. The trick is you really have to get back on the power as early as you can in the corner. So every time I'm chasing hard to close these gaps, and that's what wiped me out at the end. But you know, I got to be more aggressive. Go. It's zooming up like that. I was dodging folks who were getting shelled out of the race. Really got to be careful not to get gapped. Thankfully my instincts today were better, but you see this gap here, I'm thinking, oh crap. So I'm just trying to stay with the rider ahead of me there. Thankfully I know I can roll pretty good through this downhill. Coming into turn 3, it slows down a bit. So you'll see I'll just coast right up, well, not coast, but catch up to the tail end of the field.
Let's go!
You'll notice my heart rate's already over 170. My max, at least back home, is I thought it was 174. Yesterday, the day before, at Brady Arts District, I was seeing low 180s. I don't know if that's by virtue of being at lower elevation, since I live in Denver, but it kind of scared me, the numbers I was seeing. Could be the heat as well. So this time I had a better transition through that corner. I just yelled at that rider to catch up to that gap, but I'll do it myself. Now, if you've been following my feed, you'll know I'm a chronic tail gunner, especially when I'm racing the 1-2-3s. I tend to hang on the back. You know, I'm just not the strongest guy out there. I tend to leave a little gap. Folks tend to go around me. One of these days I'll get more aggressive and fight for position, but you know, I'm comfortable back here. The main threat is, well, threats, either getting caught behind someone who has a problem, someone who crashes, someone who just is having a bad time, and then you got to chase around that gap. But things were not as heated at the front. No gaps formed here. I was happy with that. But you'll see again, my heart rate's over 170. I'm 47 years old, so if you use the 220 minus your age, then really my max ought to be 173, but that's not the case.
Just me. That's the back.
And I forget what I was doing there. I think a rider was looking around, and I was just telling him, hey, I'm the last guy, so... But what worried me so much about that final corner and the descent coming into it is you're kind of on the edge of traction. If anything happens in front of you, you don't have a lot of room for error. Your options are going to be either brake harder and risk either endoing or locking up your rear wheel, or go straight. And some guys ended up in the VIP tent at the bottom of the hill. They got some video of that. So here we go again.
Down beside you.
I was actually happy with how good I was feeling going up the hill. This gauntlet of noise, every time through it, it just, like I said, it gave me goosebumps. I wanted more. I wanted to be there for the next time. So I know that the crowd played a role in keeping me in this race. That intersection right there is a nice compression going through it. And if you don't kind of absorb it with your arms, it can be tricky. So again, the action's cooled down for the moment. My heart rate's about 5 beats lower than it was before at this stage. At this point on the course, at least. Gives me a bit of a chance to catch my breaths. Lots of squealing brakes through here. So what I'm doing is I'm going to stick with the front camera this whole race. I was running dual GoPro cameras, one facing front, the other behind my saddle facing rearward. So I'm going to have a completely separate video. I'll call it the drop cam or the shell cam. Just to keep track of who was losing contact behind me. But my whole focus was just staying in contact, not getting gapped too bad. And it carried me farther than I expected to go in this race. Spoiler alert, I'm not going to make it to the end. It's a 45-minute race, and this isn't a 45-minute video. This is the closest I got to the stages, boys. That should be like a Catterall of South African extraction, out of Boulder, out of the Denver area at least. And it was nice to have some familiar faces from Colorado. because a lot of these guys, I don't know them from Adam. I don't know who's who. I don't know who the strong teams are. Well, it's pretty obvious who the strong teams are just watching, but it does help when you know who you're racing against. Still some damn spots on the road under the trees, but thankfully traction was good throughout the race. We didn't have any problems with this corner. Although again, I felt like I was pretty conservative through it. That Tulsa Tough was live streaming the races, and they've got the archived feeds from the weekend at usacrits.tv. If I remember, I'll put a link in the video here, or at least the URL. Again, I was glad they had the barriers up. Cresting that hill is a relief, because it doesn't get any easier.
Stay there, Jamie. Don't move up. Just what you've done.
So for this video, I'm actually going to leave comments open on YouTube.
Oh my God.
So feel free to post a comment. I welcome constructive criticism. I welcome good feedback as well. But let's see if we can make my work better. Back onto the front straightaway. You can tell the field is pretty much single file right now. I'm struggling a bit to catch back on. Let's see if someone comes along behind me here. Yep. I don't know what he said to me, but that look suggests that he didn't approve of my letting the gap open. I wouldn't blame him. But hey, buddy, do the best I can. So once more up the hill, he's out of the saddle on the lower part, typically in the 23 tooth cogs, sometimes the 25. And then accelerating as best I can up this upper section, which was not as steep. But now you see my heart rate getting up to 176. This is definitely taking its toll. Hill crits are hard. It is, you're doing hill repeats. And it's the old joke about wrestling a gorilla. You don't stop when you're tired, you stop when the gorilla's tired. But again, I'm able to recover just slightly and cruise back up on the back of the field. Turn 3. See how stretched out it is right now. It's going to be a tough go on this front straightaway. just like that, I'm popped. That's it. I'm done. That last climb was a little too much. I'm starting to get chills. And oh, I don't have a clock here. Let me see if I can find out how. Yeah, I almost made it 20 minutes in, but that's it. The moto's going to pass me, and at that point, I am out of contention. So once that following moto passes me, I'm at the mercy of the officials as to whether they'll leave me in or not. And I've just, the air has gone out of my sails.
Come on, yell! Come on! I'm still crying.
You'll notice folks offering me hand-ups of beer. Not quite time to take them yet. Oop, is that Michael? No, sorry, Mike. But my MO is I go until someone tells me to quit, so definitely not going to be as fast by myself, but never quit. I hate not finishing races. So it's Saturday's crit. I lasted. Oh!
Who's quit?
Sorry for the
Not fucking me.
not family-friendly language there. Saturday I lasted like, I don't know, 17 minutes out of a 60-minute crit before I got gapped and couldn't catch back on. Today I lasted a little bit longer, but bear in mind I actually raced. This is my second race of the day. I raced the Masters A's. There'll be a separate video for that. So I already had 12 racing laps up Crybaby Hill before this race. So, you know, I need to improve, but this is still so much fun. I love racing with these guys. Before coming here, I would have called the highlight of my year the Littleton Criterium, Littleton, Colorado, where they don't have a lot of different categories, so really all I can do is, well, I can do the senior threes, but I can also race 40 plus 1-2-3s, and that's a fast, traditional downtown crit, fast and flat, and oh, it's just so much fun. So, dragging my ass up the hill one more time. So thanks to the organizers of Tulsa Tough, I understand this is the 14th edition of the race weekend. They have built it into something truly incredible. This is a national level event. I'll tell you a little bit about my team. I race for Palmaris Racing. Palmaris Energy is an energy company based out of Golden, Colorado. It's well, our benefactor, co-owner Mike Brown, used to fly fighter jets for the Navy, and he's just a general badass, good dude. We appreciate his support. We're also sponsored by Golden Bear Bikes, bike shops in Westminster, Colorado, and also Lakewood. They carry Cannondale, Giant, Trek, so you get a lot of good bikes there. good service too. Dash Cycles, manufacturers of world-class triathlon saddles and other aero equipment. Check them out at dashcycles.com.
Let me make it to 30 if I can,
I've
please.
just begged Bonnie Walker, the chief ref, to let me stay in until 30 minutes elapsed. We'll see if that works out. Bonnie was actually an official in Texas over 20 years ago when I was racing in Houston, so I know she doesn't remember me, but I remember her. So, hi Bonnie. Let's see, our other sponsors, Inspired Training Center in Denver. Sue Lloyd there runs a great indoor training center. They offer a lot of services beyond just group CompuTrainer rides, which that's a lot more fun than I thought it would be before I tried it. Don't want to leave anyone out. Let's not forget STEM Ciders. STEM, S-T-E-M Ciders. I say they're out of Longmont, but anyway, north of Denver. For all your cider needs. So I'm really dogging it at this point. I'm toast. I'm just gonna go until Bonnie pulls me out. But again, thanks to all our sponsors. You know, we're not pros at this, but it's nice to have the support, and it's fun. It gives us, you know, we're part of a team. We get to support the logos and support our sponsors. So we're grateful for all of them. And with that, I am done. Bonnie has pulled me for the race. Didn't quite make it to 30 minutes. The race is 45. I think, if I remember correctly, that was 9 laps to go. But just didn't have it. I did end up on the first page of results. I think I was 32nd out of like 46 starters. I don't know. I don't know how many starters there were. I heard 80 something, but whatever. I'm happy. This was a hell of an event. I still had teammates to cheer for at later races. But at this point, I'm going to mosey up Crybaby Hill one more time. I could use a beer. Someone's bound to give me one. Let's see.
Hey, what does the girl have to do to get a beer around here? Beer? Beer, bitte?
Thanks to the dude in the blue shirt here.
Let's go.
That was Michelob Ultra, the official drink of Crybaby Hill. And I better get out of here, because there's the lead vehicle. But there's really nowhere for me to go. I gotta get past the fencing. There we go. I'll just find me a nice spot to pull off here. Now let's talk to the residents.
Ooh, it's an Ultra! Yeah! I'm from Denver. Yes, I'm hot.
Yeah! You want a water balloon?
No, that won't help. That will not help. I'd rather pour this beer over my head, but I won't. Well, I got pulled. Here's the field finishing, but man, this race is off the chain. This was fun, Tulsa. Thank you for Crybaby Hill. I'll be back if I can. But let's follow the field up there. I don't want to steal their glory. Let's take one more ride up Crybaby. I better get my smallest gear first, though.
All right, well, not many guys did make it to the finish here, but
Started with 85.
which group was it from?
Masters A's. Threes are next.
Kids race coming up at 110. My second favorite race of the day.
Here we go.
110. I mean, fun. We saw
Good job.